Hey, Decathlon Gamer, welcome back to F1 Manager 24. It's episode number 3. It's the first 3 episodes where the algorithm matters the most. Once you get deeper into a series, people don't just suddenly start watching. They might pop up into one episode, but they're going to go back and restart. And most likely, it's the first 3 episodes that draw attention in. So it's where the algorithm matters the most. So last time that I'm going to be upfront with this one, please take a second, drop below, click that like button, leave a comment. It does miracles to that algorithm. Upgrading facilities and generating an income is the most important thing, and the Tour Center is the one that does that. And for very little cost and in just a 2-week span, it's not going to generate a huge increase, but it does add to the team marketability. And that marketability piece right now is one of our big keys to get the engagement element up. We have our first vote of the year for a minor technical change for the upcoming season, and we're looking at either airflow focus changes or cooling focused changes, with the engine cooling dropping off in the chassis department, minor airflow situation, tire preservation dropping down. Wow, that's a lot. This is not so minor, by the way. This is not so minor, but for me, history of the game, I think I'd rather see the engine cooling drop off than the airflow. But then again, it could be more beneficial for us if it's the airflow dropping off when it's so low for us. You know, as far down the grid as we are, I think the airflow focus changes will help us more than the cooling focus changes would. We've lost a front wing and a suspension after that last race. Unfortunately, we're going to have to invest nearly $1 million into suspension, as we literally had both cars with their suspension fail, and I was down to 3, so I have 1 remaining. Trying to make this stretch and work is not going so well for us. We're 4 races into the year, and we are going through components like hotcakes right now. I'm getting really nervous about the financial situation. As we're down to 3 front wings, we're going to have to invest in 2 more. That's another $500,000. This is where the money's going right now. With 11 teams, no tiebreak necessary. It's always going to be a majority. And this time the majority goes just against us. But reality is I wanted the cooling. But I figured being from the back of the grid, maybe we'd get the advantage out of the aero being the harder one to overcome for everyone. So I'm not too upset that we lost this vote.
We're just getting settled here in Shanghai ahead of the Chinese Grand Prix. A visit to Shanghai International Circuit can only mean it's time for the Chinese Grand Prix. This state-of-the-art track combines high G-force corners with one of the longest straights on the calendar. And with space for up to 200,000 spectators, not a minute of action will be missed. Welcome back, everyone. The final preparations are now being made as we head into the race. A lot of people will be keen to see just how Zhou Guanyu will fare today.
What can they manage from 18? It'll be interesting to see, that's for sure.
But there's no more time left. We've got a race on our hands. The excitement is building here in Shanghai. It's lights out and away we go.
And we are racing. I like that, how it drew out from there. Anyway, we're starting from the back. It's China. It's a sprint weekend. I was able to simulate a sprint. I'm so happy about that. These sprint weekends, especially for a team such as ours that's not competing for points, are completely ridiculous. They are useless for us. So it's good to be in this scenario. Now, I've got a new underfloor for beach only, because I only manufactured 2 of them. Rivas is still on the original underfloor, and that's the only upgrade we've had all year. I have not even started another one because we can't afford the $1 million to do the research, let alone turn around and manufacture the component. 56 laps here at China. We got a yellow flag. Somebody ran wide there, it looked like. But that was all Piastri. It's Ocon that ran wide. Piastri might have a little damage from a turn 1 scenario or something, or it's a warning because his engine's in low. I don't know. Beach has new engine, new gearbox this time out, and the new underfloor, so I was hoping that she was going to be a little bit faster, perform a little bit better. The game right now has one major bug that needs to be fixed. Your race strategy, your updates that you do to your setup are not saving. So we have our P1, our first practice session, is all we got for setup. Our setup is the worst I've ever had in 3 years of playing this game for this race. 30%, 34%. But it won't take any updates. If I go out and do the session live, I can do the updates within the session. But anything that I make prior to opening, none of those are saving. None of those are carrying over into the session. And it's not working out well for us right now at all. It's going quite poorly. I had a different strategy for both drivers that's not carrying over right now. Really hands tied on that. So what we need today is we need Beach to finish ahead of Rivas. As for the first time, I'm rolling the dice a little bit. I've told Beach that the bonus that we're going for is 20th, where Rivas is keeping the 21st bonus. If we can get a DNF from anyone in the field, that'll promote us to those positions. And then I need to just make sure that Beach finishes ahead of Rivas so we can get 500,000 this race weekend instead of the normal 400,000. Definitely putting it on the line for that, making it a little bit tougher. Zhou Guan Yu started this race in 18th and has already dropped to 21st. If we can get both drivers ahead of Zhou in his home race, then we're set. Already 3 seconds off the back of the Alpines, though. Oh, come on. Zhou spun, and I don't know how Beach went with him because there was no contact between them. Certainly didn't look like there was any contact between them. This is on board with Zhou. Zhou turned in. So Zhou turned in on Beach. Beach is a couple seconds behind Zhou right now. Rivas will take what we can get right now and keep going. Let's hope that Zhou is carrying some damage. Zhou is carrying a penalty, so I was correct that Zhou turned in on Beach from that look. Zhou has damage, okay. And a time penalty, 5 seconds only. But this could set us up for that 20th and 21st. What we're going to need, though, as Beach is about 7 seconds behind and not carrying any damage, luckily, no damage. Still in the faster car, but we're down to 71%, so we lost about 10% tire wear. That is going to force us to pit a little bit earlier on this first stop and alter our strategy a little bit, and now we're going to have to, chase from behind. We're a good 7.5 seconds down on Rivas and going to have to chase. But at least Rivas is in some clean air right now, and technically, with the penalty, we're ahead of Zhou already, and he's carrying damage, and we were already quicker than him. So I would hope that Beach will soon catch up to Zhou and be able to overtake him and drive away from him. Both of them carrying the same amount of tire wear damage. Zhou, mechanical fault. He's got a mechanical fault to go with it now. Okay.
A lot of turbo lag.
Alrighty. Well, this is even better for us. Again, all we really need to do is beat one. I would love to see Bottas out of the race so we could beat a team. But that's just wishful thinking. Okay, speeding things up. It's been a little while since we've been to China, as the race went through multiple years of cancellations with COVID. Beach has not yet caught Zhou, but they are pulling. Rivas is pulling away from them, though also losing ground to anybody else ahead of us. But 20th is one of those positions we need. Ultimately, though, we've got to make sure we finish ahead of Zhou, and that's going to be the big one to watch out for. If Zhou's having complications and damage and a time penalty, I think we should be able to beat Zhou. However, we need Beach to beat Rivas at this point, and that could involve Rivas slowing down. That could involve Rivas taking an extra pit stop, but we've got to make sure that we're still comfortable ahead of Zhou at that stage. Beach is holding the gap, just over 2 seconds behind here. Yellow flag. We got a VSC. Is it time to pit yet? Do we have 2 sets of hearts? Beach, I think Rivas is already a little too close, but what about, what's this going to look like? Just 1 set of mediums? Set of hearts. We would still need an additional stop, I'd say, for softs later on, if we were to do that. We're going to go to the hards right now. Perez crashed on turn 7. This is also going to guarantee us now that 2021st. Now it's just about beating. He lost on. How did he run that far out?
I cannot believe this.
He should have stopped in the gravel there. Spinning off where he did, that much runoff, he would have lost a lot of momentum. The gravel should have done the job to slow him down. So Beach comes down pit road. This is not a full safety car, it's a virtual safety car. It slows down. This pit stop saves us time. We lose less time, but we still lose time. But now on a fresh compound, you can see it can get us till about 38 or so. I'm not sure if we can make mediums work. 17 laps, you know, we can make mediums. I think we're still in for just one more stop. Stroll has pit as well, so we're not the only ones. Now the thing we've got to watch out for is getting lapped pretty early on, as now Beach, gap between us and Verstappen, not that big. He's coming around final corner right now. Oh, not final corner, into the backstretch right now as we're coming around. Yeah, we're not that far. Yeah, we cross the start-finish line as he comes around the hairpin. That's something. Ocon has also pit. So, yeah, it's definitely a few that have opted to go for it. Fuel in a much better position than it was. Zhou pits. Look just how far Beach is going to be ahead. 5-second penalty. Pits under live conditions. We're only 6 seconds ahead. Really? That's a strange one. Gain maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds. That's it. No, it's coming out a bit further. It's 8.5 seconds now. Beach about to get the first blue flag and get overtaken by Verstappen, and does so. Now 7.5 seconds ahead of Zhou with no cars in between them. This is a decent track. I love that 1-2-3 complex at the start. It's one of my favorite corners on the calendar, or corner sequences on the calendar. That one being right here as we blue flag, and oh, that's Rivas getting overtaken because we are off pace. That's Gasly, who's already pit. This is the lap we want to pit, though, by the way. That'll make these a little bit better off. We could still pit at the normal time for the hards. Zhou's about to experience quite a few blue flags in a row. Multiple cars near the front of the grid overtaking. Yellow.
And here we've
Crash.
got a yellow flag.
Several cars. It's signs on the inside of Verstappen. And Verstappen doesn't yield. Sainz gives him space on the outside. There's enough room to run there, but he would have been up on the curb. Verstappen doesn't
And you
yield,
can just
and
feel the frustration from the team.
that's that. But very light contact between them. Looks like both are fine. Oh gosh, Rivas. Terrible in-lap here. Absolutely monumentally bad in-lap. Lost 3 positions and backed out of it multiple times to turn that 1 extra lap into 4 or 5 seconds lost. Now that's going to bring Rivas out into the no man's land where we're just a couple seconds ahead of Beach now. But that does make it pretty clear what our objective is for this race. It's to try to get Rivas to 19th and Beach to 20th. To beat Joe head-to-head, which we seem to be managing to do. And then the other thing is if Bottas can slip up, but Rivas spins. Beach has caught up to us. And with blue flags, it's going to go, wow, gosh, what the heck, you two? That is a terrible piece of driving. And Beach just let another car go. This is not how the AI should be behaving. Oh my goodness. Beach just slams on the brakes and it's like, I love you, teammate. I love you. Please, don't spin. Don't have drama. I'll make drama myself. Joe, mechanical fault getting worse. Mechanical fault is increasing and is now off pace. Beach has caught Rivas. And Joe is dropping behind rapidly. Ocon, mechanical fault. Bottas continues with his mechanical faults. Yeah, I don't know what happened with Beach. We were 0.2 behind, then all of a sudden we were 10 behind. And that seems to have stabilized. Was that the blue flag of all blue flags? Did we let 10 cars go at once? Joe out. Joe out of the race. Has retired. Now we are guaranteed that 20th. It doesn't matter what Beach does anymore. We are guaranteed 500,000. Big bonus there. Big. Rivas on pit road to put on the hards to go to the end. It's lap 43. 2.833. That's slow. Beach also coming down pit road, but with a healthy gap between the pair of them, it's hardly a double stack. 2.776, a little slower than our average, but not too far off from it. And we are outrunning once again and right back into blue flag territory. 12 seconds separating them. Beach on the mediums should be able to make it to the end, and we have no reason to push with anyone. We have nearly a minute to Bottas. Sainz, his fault is getting worse, and it's possible that he's going to DNF as well. I would love to have that happen. However, that still doesn't get us to beat a team. The goal of trying to beat Bottas with a minute gap is just not much of a thing. But they want us to push for this one. Okay, fine, go aggressive. So 5 races into the season, and a lot of cars are still using that first set of components. And today we're seeing a couple DNFs and a lot of faults out there that could get worse. Bottas has gotten worse. His mechanical fault is a bit more serious now, though we're a full minute behind him. Beach is catching Rivas, even though Rivas is pushing, but Rivas is on the hards. Gasly, mechanical fault. They are numerous. I would love to see somebody else DNF, especially Bottas. But at this point,
there's a yellow flag now.
The case. Ocon with a spin. Bottas, mechanical fault again, but still not DNFing. 3 laps to go. Lock up from Rivas. Plenty of mistakes from the pair today. Last 2 cars on the grid by quite some margin. But it's still a good day for us, simply because 2 other cars DNF'd and gave us what we wanted and needed. Final lap. Looks like the wishful thinking. Half success today, but the beating a team and finishing 10th on the day. Not quite. Not quite. So close. By default. or one could say fault, for that matter.
Max Verstappen over the finish line and today's winner.
Verstappen takes the win. Bottas, who had just lapped second time. Ricardo already crossed the line, a lap down. I think we are 3 laps down, or I guess we're still 2 laps. Yeah, 2 laps down. Field spread is pretty big. So 5 races into the season, Red Bull has won 3 of them, but they are level on points and just a tiebreaker ahead of Ferrari, who have won the other 2 races so far. And yet, despite no wins, 5 podiums for McLaren have them just 5 points off the constructors' lead. So we've got a heck of a battle for the top 3, and then the unrealistic one is Mercedes, though the car's not at the level of the others. It's 2 good drivers that have been pulling them up, at least in my opinion. They should never be behind Aston Martin in the points, as Aston Martin not only don't have the car, they don't have the drivers. Fernando Alonso was fantastic once upon a time, but he is getting slower by the race. His performances have been pretty pitiful, and his attitude has been just as pitiful lately. RB picking up all the rest of the points. The only other team getting into the points these days. Haas and Williams, of course, have been the closest. And yeah, we have yet to do anything. We did get 1 decent pit stop today, enough to score 4 more points in the fastest pit stop competition. Where we sit 9th with 11 now. But that $500,000 is very, very welcome, as we just spent, $1.5 million on new components in between the last race, and this is how we're having to pay for that right now. I mean, this is how we're supposed to be breaking even, but difficult days. That 20th, I think I'm gonna more consistently go with that, but the trick is you have to make sure to get that, and if necessary, sacrifice a driver to drop down so that you can get 20th and 21st in order, and I will use team orders if necessary to make that happen, because we need this 500k, we need the 400k, we need 600k, but setting 2 drivers to 20th and above is difficult. Today it worked out with 2 DNFs, but we can't count on that every weekend. Oh man, this hurts. We've got all these hours and we can't use them. We can't afford. We've got 5.3 million. We cannot afford to do upgrades right now. We don't have the playing with fire if we do an upgrade. I feel like I'm playing with fire here, but I also feel like you can't give away these hours. We desperately need to keep up with the car. That 500,000 a race is important, and I don't know if I should be doing this, but I'm doing it anyway. $1 million side pod upgrade. All the hours committed to that one upgrade. Another $500,000 into 2 more front wings, as we went through 2 of them in the weekend. I thought it would give us a nice even 100k. It's not. It's going to top out at 96,875, but the team marketability bonus all the way up to a plus 30 for the tour center. Final upgrades only 50k compared to what we just did. That driver development update, you can see just how much it's hampered by the fact that we do not have the facilities where they need to be. Only a +1 in control for Emma Beach, though 80, like to see that. 82 in accuracy for Rivas, and an 80 in smoothness. And we've just finished Miami, which included a sprint race. Of course, we're not competitive for that, so Verstappen, Leclerc, and Sainz are the podium. This time, Beach gets 18th, Rivas gets 20th, which is a relief because I had her on 6 races in, still on the original components. I knew it was going to be problematic, but she survives the race. Perez again out, and last place Gasly at the bottom of the standings, and so we are able to get the bonus. However, Knowing that I wasn't going to control it, knowing that there was going to be some extra issues, I went for the 21st and above, 400k, but hey, 400k, I'll take it. Red Bull may have won the race, but with one of their drivers finishing last, Ferrari is able to move ahead into the constructors' lead. McLaren still close behind. Sponsor plan review. We only cashed in $1 million this time, not the 1.4 that was promised. Not sure how we came up short, but we're short of our goal. So I don't know how this all works. We had mandatory activities. We didn't get money from that one. So $1 million, the payout. Of course, we've already turned over another month. That tour center upgrade is complete at least, but we are back to just a hair shy of 4 million right now, which is well short of where we want to be. We want to be closer to 6, but of course I threw that $1 million at an upgrade, so that already knocked us off a little bit, 5 million. But this is where we're at in relation to new components versus race bonuses. This is also where we're at in terms of quantity. So we're at 4 chassis. Remember, 2 are on the vehicles themselves. We have 2 spare. We have 3 spare front wings, 2 spare rear wings, 1 spare side pod, but that's the research that's being done now and should be done soon. So we'll be okay there. Those 3 will stay with our second car and get used up, and then we'll make new ones of the new component. Meanwhile, we only have 2 underfloors. However, that's for underfloor number 2, the upgraded one. We have 2 left on number 1, so we have 4 underfloors and suspension at 4. And that final tour center upgrade, it's got to help, right? It's got to help. Sponsor plan. Let's see if we can make a little more money this time. Let's see if we can make a bigger dent and hit the target. Not much I can do when we can't reach the target, no matter what I do. Oh, look at that. The guided tours in the 5-center tour. Yes. Oh, gosh, that's huge. 2,200, by far the biggest engagement piece that we have had. Race day appearances are necessary. We've got to do what we've got to do. The factory tour helping. Oh, this is good. Are we going to finally meet our targets? Factory race day experience. Look how much closer we are. We're already up to 1 million. 1.6. 1.6. 2 choices for the last one. We have school events. That's a staff activity. Engineer time, team size. That one doesn't hurt. That one does not hurt me, as we are barely doing any research and we're definitely not in a rush, but we're still short of our target. However, this gets us by far the closest we've been to the target. The target keeps moving and we're short, but we are closing that gap, and I feel like next time we might actually hit it. And look at where this is going to place us on the engagement. 2.2 million. 2.2 million, I think. Not this period, obviously. Sponsor plan period 3 of 8. I think possibly, not guaranteed, but possibly the next period, we're going to finally hit that target. And then I think from that point on, we might potentially always hit that target. What does that mean, though? Do we jump to the 5 million because we hit the target? 2.2 million. That's double. That is double what we've done where we've been. We're still 1,000 short. Still 1,000. But massively closer. Checking in on those finances, the marketability has risen by another about 15 points, I think, from where we were. Beach, her marketability up to a 60, Rivas at 65. The projected balance is not as bad as it had been. It's still predicting that we're going to lose 80 million over the course of the year, with a lot of that being other still at 67 million, but not as bad as it was before. It was at about 83 million, so it has lessened. We're still on a month by month predicted to lose 1 million each month. 1.1 now instead of 1.2 though. 123, so we're about 120k better off in that losses department. And of course, we are trying to offset those bonuses. And if we're going to get 2.2 million in 6 weeks, that covers 2 months in 6 weeks. That means if we actually get that payout, because we were supposed to get 1.4 last time, we only got 1. So something's coming back less than predicted. even with the prediction being less than something's not adding up, right? But if we can get 2.2 million, that gives us a slight positive balance. Then the trick comes down to those in-race bonuses being enough to at least offset. If we can offset the cost of the new components, we might just make it. So far, we're making it. Barely. But we are making it. No, it's just China and Miami. But we've got Imola next. I know we're not going to be good in Monaco. We don't have the car for it. Drivers are kind of okay. I don't think it matters really what race we're doing, though. It's going to all be the same. Okay, let's get our results for Imola. I took a risk. I told both drivers 20th or above. Chance at 600,000 it would be our highest payout, and I didn't have control over it as I simmed the race. Makes me pretty nervous that we didn't make it. I noticed that they qualified last two spots on the grid. Leclerc has taken the win ahead of Sainz, so a Ferrari 1-2 with Norris in third. Perez, no Red Bulls on the podium, but it's Perez in fourth. It's Verstappen in ninth place, a lap down in this race. Interesting that. And no sign of us in the top. There's already Bottas in 13th. We're into the 2-lap territory. Gasly at 16th. Rivas 17th. And Beach 18th. Yes, okay. They have pulled it off. We just made 600,000. Okay. Zhou Guan Yu 3 laps down. Logan Sargent 3 laps down. It's the first time we've seen him at the back of the grid. Hulkenberg and Ocon DNFing, and that has worked out for us. Even if we hadn't beat 2 drivers, we both would have managed to get the top 20. The next jump is 18th and above, and this is a couple of our highest finishes. I doubt that that's going to happen very often, but I knew that Rivas had new engine, new gearbox. That's why I gave it a shot, and Beach has the upgraded underfloor. We're soon to have upgraded side pods. The research project for that one is about to conclude here at the end of the weekend, so we'll still need to manufacture a couple of side pods initially, and we can afford to pay for those, but we don't know about faults. There hadn't been faults in the last race weekend. We kind of lucked out there. It's pretty typical for us to have multiples, but looks like they had a good race. But that's going to do it for this episode. Last time on that algorithm boost being necessary, please take a moment, like and comment if you haven't done so yet. It might be a good time to subscribe, but only a few episodes in. If you're new to the channel, that might be a little early for you to make that decision just yet. Maybe do so in time. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.